All right, here my people, we don't land again to bring on our Obonge news wey dey on board. You go dey see am one after the other. In fact, everywhere now full of news. Just the watch. But before you begin to watch, just like this particular video, share it, and let others see and follow us as well. Thank you so much, even as you watch. Let's go there.
Welcome to Oracle Eyes. Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, who shook the world agenda deeply in June, is again at the top of the list of hot topics today. However, the reason why Yevgeny Prigozhin is on the agenda today is not that he started an uprising against Russia. Wagner leader, who walked to Russia 2 months ago and caused alarm bells to ring in the Kremlin, fell like a bomb on the agenda with his death. Now we will tell you the striking details and last-minute developments about Prigozhin's death. Prigozhin, an enemy of Putin and warlord of the Wagner Group, allegedly died in a plane crash in Russia. It was seen in a video that Prigozhin's private jet fell from the sky in the Bologovsky district of the Tver region near Moscow. The private jet exploded in the air. Burning debris was seen in an area. Witnesses to the accident heard a loud explosion before realizing that the jet had fallen from the sky. Flight tracking sites state that the flight abruptly ended at around 6 p.m. local time near Tver, northwest of Moscow. Initially, it was unknown whether the Wagner chief Prigozhin, known as Putin's chief and longtime affiliation with the Kremlin dictator, was on board. A report from the Russian aviation agency Rosaviatsia stated that Prigozhin was among the passengers. According to reports, 7 people were aboard the Embraer Legacy 600 business jet. At least 3 people died, but 4 could not be located. A later report, citing the Russian Emergencies Ministry, stated that 10 people died. According to unconfirmed reports, another prominent member of the Wagner Group was killed in the plane crash. Russian military bloggers suggested that Dmitry Utkin, a former Russian intelligence officer and co-founder of the group, was apparently also killed. According to the Russian Federal Air Transport Agency, an investigation has been launched into the Embraer plane crash that occurred in the Tver region. The statement did not comment on the cause of the accident, but said the commission will search for evidence, including black box records. The plane appears to be traveling between Moscow and St. Petersburg. Competing theories arose after a plane carrying Yevgeny Prigozhin made a crash landing. Wagner-linked Telegram channels claimed that the plane was shot down by Russian air defenses. In the wreckage video published on Telegram channels, many small holes are seen in some parts of the crashed plane. It is alleged that this may be due to damage from the impact of air defense shells that destroyed the fuselage of the aircraft. Grayzone, which is closely related to the paramilitary group, said that, before the plane crash, 2 residents listened to 2 explosions of the characteristic air defense. This is confirmed by the direct words of eyewitnesses, as well as the contraceptives in the sky in one of the videos. Another source stated that they should not rush to bury Prigozhin. There were even allegations that the death of Wagner's boss may have been staged, according to the source. The Wagner boss was declared dead in Africa in 2019, but he survived to fight one more day. Ryadovka, an account on the Telegram app known to be close to Russian authorities, claimed that news of Mr. Prigozhin's death was premature and that Yevgeny Prigozhin might have been on a different plane. The source refused to specify the whereabouts of Prigozhin. Landing footage of the second plane was also shared on social media. Russian Telegram channel Baza, which has links to security services, claimed that the cause of the explosion on the plane was a terrorist attack. Russian Deputy Yevgeny Popov said that, "This is a terrorist act in the skies of Russia. It should be investigated. The perpetrators must be held accountable." While the news headlines are flooded with reports of the Wagner leader's death, Russian television is broadcasting live footage of President Vladimir V. Putin in the Kursk region to mark the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany. Putin's cheerful mood did not go unnoticed as he walked to the podium on the stage. The moments when Putin laughed on the podium during his speech became the agenda. Standing in front of the orchestra on the stage, Putin expressed his heartfelt congratulations to all citizens of Russia for this event. The White House said President Biden was briefed about the plane crash reported in Russia. The U.S. National Security Council stated that reports of the accident involving Yevgeny Prigozhin were seen in Russia. Spokesperson Adrienne Watson said that, "No one should be surprised if it's confirmed." Earlier, Prigozhin had been warned not to enter tall buildings for fear of accidents, especially after he led a coup aimed at overthrowing Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Chief of Staff, General Valery Gerasimov. Prigozhin is known to use stunts as part of elaborate security measures. Also, the day before the plane crash, the Wergner leader was seen in a video. Yevgeny Prigozhin was featured in the first video address, suggesting he was in Africa since his failed rebellion in Russia. Analysts could not confirm where the video was shot. In the video broadcast on Telegram channels affiliated with the Wergner mercenary group, it is reported that Wergner is in war gear and the group is making Africa freer. In the video, Mr. Prigozhin stated that Wergner was fighting with Islamist militants and other criminals as well as prospecting for mines. Mr. Prigozhin was photographed shaking hands with presidential advisor Ambassador Freddie Mapuka at the OAC during the Africa-Russia summit in St. Petersburg last month. On the other hand, in July, retired General Robert Abrams claimed that Prigozhin was eliminated. The Kremlin claimed that President Vladimir Putin met with Prigozhin 5 days after he withdrew his troops. However, Prigozhin has not been seen in public since, and General Abrams has cast doubt on whether the meeting was actually held. The Kremlin suggested Prigozhin would be deported to Belarus as punishment, but his whereabouts have remained a mystery since the failed rebellion. It was reported that his fellow mercenaries who participated in the revolt were also allowed to go to Belarus. However, neither Russia nor Belarus confirmed Prigozhin's whereabouts. Belaruski Hajun, an independent Belarusian military monitoring project, said a business jet reportedly used by Prigozhin landed near Minsk on the morning of the 27th of June. Also in July, Russian President Vladimir Putin himself gave details of the meeting he had with Wagner rebel Yevgeny Prigozhin and his men in the Kremlin on June 29th, after the paramilitary group's rebellion was stopped. The meeting was the first known contact between the two men since the uprising and posed the most dramatic challenge to Putin's authority in 23 years in power. Vladimir Putin claimed that he gave the fighters the opportunity to continue fighting in Ukraine. Mr. Prigozhin insisted that his rebellion was not targeting Mr. Putin, but rather the defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, and Russia's top uniformed officers, which he said had disrupted the war in Ukraine. For months, he had argued that Wagner deserved credit for their achievements on the battlefield, while publicly and abusively complaining that they were incompetent and backstabber. Putin also tried to downplay the actions of Wagner fighters marching into Moscow, taking control of Russian territory, and demanding the resignation of the president's defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, and chief of staff, Valery Gerasimov. So who is Yevgeny Prigozhin, who turned the agenda upside down with his death? Yevgeny Prigozhin became wealthy, thanks to his personal ties to Russian President Vladimir Putin. He won lucrative catering and construction contracts with the Russian government while establishing a mercenary force known as Wagner. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine, his ranks were filled with imprisoned soldiers, and he brought his fighters into the fight. Prigozhin, a businessman who spoke rude words, disregarded the law, and showed no loyalty to anyone but Putin, became known as Putin's chief because of his dinner agreements with the Kremlin and the Russian army, and became the symbol of wartime Russia. Prigozhin expanded Wagner's presence in Ukraine after the Kremlin's attempt to seize the capital, Kiev, failed in the first days of its occupation early last year. The private military company was at that time largely operating in Syria and Africa, where it operated both on behalf of the Russian government and to serve Prigozhin's own commercial interests. In February 2018, Prigozhin was one of 13 Russians accused by the federal grand jury of meddling in the American elections, spreading lies in support of the presidential election. The United States imposed sanctions on Mr. Prigozhin in December 2016. Born in Leningrad in 1961, Prigozhin was sent to prison in 1981 for robbery and other crimes. After serving his 9-year sentence, he opened a hot dog stand and eventually led an entrepreneurial career by opening restaurants and grocery stores. According to the latest media reports, he died in August 2023. Thank you for watching us.